What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Phaithful Phanatics podcast. And our first episode is part of the Painted Lines. I'm joined along with my guys, Gint, George. Snap will be joining us very soon. Guys, how we feeling after a rough Philadelphia sports day?
Definitely not a good day yesterday, to say the least. Last night, going 0 for 3. The Philadelphia parlay definitely did not hit yesterday in any way. How about you, George?
I would say the same thing. I mean, Sixers game started off, tough scene, and then move on to the Flyers game, hopefully get one dub. So the Phillies hater parlay definitely won that one yesterday. But
my tweet didn't age too well last night when I was confident in a 2-for-2 win with the Flyers and Sixers. But even though they lost last night, let's start with a team that has a lot more optimism surrounding them right now. The Flyers had a chance to put away the Canadians and win their first series since 2012 last night, but came up a little bit short in a 5-3 loss. They now take a 3-2 series lead into Friday night and look to put the Habs away for good. So, George, it's been a very, before last night, kind of boring, slow-paced series. But the Flyers had a 3-1 lead. We were hoping they would put them away last night. They didn't. So what stood out to you in Game 5? What stood out to you all series? And before we get into Game 6?
I mean, it's a disappointing game all around. It looked like the Habs just wanted it more. It really is a shame that was probably the best we've seen our top 6 play all series, and it was just squandered. I blame most of the game on AV. I feel like he definitely relied on that fourth line too often, especially after he scored a goal and you put in that Braun Haig line and the fourth line with him. I feel like that's kind of the time to push the momentum and maybe put another one on the board, and not in his eyes, I guess. There's just a lot of stuff that stands out. I mean, the Habs, that's what it was. They just wanted it more yesterday. They're more physical. They weren't as lazy on pucks. It seemed like the Flyers couldn't, I don't know what it was, but they weren't passing the puck hard. They were kind of lazy. They were leaving pucks behind. Tough game all around. Carter Hart didn't play his best game, but after back-to-back shutouts, it's probably time for the other guys to step up a little bit and help out more.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned AV having not as sharp as night, but I think that went for everybody. But it's the weird aspect to the series is we've been saying the top guys need to step up. The top guys need to step up. Well, the struggling power play that was 1 for 28, 1 for 29 before last night scores 3 power play goals. Scored all 3 of the Flyers goals last night. Carter Hart probably had his worst game since coming back in the bubble. AV wasn't too sharp. And the common theme in the Flyers' 2 losses, the defense. In the 3 Flyers wins, the defense has been outstanding. The 2 Flyers losses, turning the puck over in their own zone, turning the puck over in the neutral zone, not clearing the puck, not getting traffic out in front of Carter Hart. That Brendan Gallagher goal, he had no business being there wide open to bat the puck in out of midair, and they just didn't get a body on him, which can never happen with a guy like that surrounding the net. But let's talk about the power play real quick. So, like I said, the power play had 1 goal before last night, and then they scored all 3 goals in the game against Montreal last night. So, what did you, George and Gint, did you see anything different in the power play? Because he didn't shake up the lines at all. Was it the formation? Was it getting the puck behind the net and playing from there a little bit?
Yeah, it just seemed like they were setting up plays a lot better, and it definitely and here's Snap. What's up, man?
Re-download Google Chrome to it was one thing. All right,
welcome. Flyers power play. It seemed like they were setting up plays a lot better, and it definitely helped that the game was chippy and they were getting the opportunities they needed, especially like double minors. I probably saw more double minors yesterday than I did in all the playoffs. Just a lot of opportunities, really. Scoring 3 goals in that one game, it really seemed like, okay, like this is it. We're going to win this game. We're going to shut out the series. And it just all went to shit. I mean, the Canadians played more physical. They wanted the puck more. They wanted to win that game more. I feel like the Flyers definitely should have been more motivated, I guess. You haven't won a first-round playoff series in 8 years. I feel like that you definitely should have been more motivated in that game. It definitely just left a bad taste in my mouth after that.
The thing is, they didn't come off bad to me. Like the game 2 start was awful. Like they got outplayed from puck drop till the end of the 3rd period, all 60 minutes. But last night, I feel like they came out with okay energy, and then the Habs scored a weak goal, go up 1-0. Then you score 2 on the double minor. I'm like, okay, step on their throats. Like, this is it, second period, like, put this team away. And then you have a double, on the major, and then on the double minor, they get 2. And it kind of, we never, once the Flyers got momentum, as you mentioned, the goal to put them up, to tie it at 3-3, they never took out the Canadians. They never kept momentum for a long period of time.
No. And it seems like it seems like we're definitely going to get some switches on that D pairing too, because Gallagher is a broken jaw. He's going to miss the rest of the series, which is more significant that Niskanen probably will be suspended the rest of the series. Yeah. So we're going to see more Ghost. And who knows? I don't see Raffle on the top line next game. I feel like you're going to throw your top 6 actually best players in that lineup. Raffle probably gets moved back down to 3 or 4. But, yeah, G's got to be back up there, in my opinion. I really want to see G back on the first line. I don't want Raffle back for Game 6 on that line. I feel like just put your best players out at that point, especially because you don't want to force a Game 7. Do what you have to do to switch up the lines and get it clicking to a point where you can stop the Canadians.
All right, before we move on to Game 6 of the Flyers, like we said, last night was very different than the first 4 games. Should we look forward in the series for the pace to play like it was last night with both teams getting around 30-plus shots, or should we expect a much slower defensive game as we've seen in the first 4?
I think it's going to be offensive and physical. It's going to be chippy just like last time. I mean, after the end of last game, it seems like everyone is motivated and angry. Carter Hart getting tapped on the helmet after letting up a goal.
Oh, they got to do something about that.
Yeah, Coots coming after I forget who it was at the end of the game. But the Flyers haven't lost back-to-back games since January. Let's not forget that. That's one thing that is keeping me very optimistic. They don't lose back-to-back games. And every time Carter Hart has some, I guess, mechanical issues, you can call it, like the one goal that slipped over his. Yeah, he always bounces back the next game and switches it up and figures everything out. And he seems to always play better in the second game after an L. So I'm still optimistic, and I still think we're going to win this. I think it'll be chippy as hell, probably high scoring again. We'll see. Maybe Carter Hart, throws another shutout in there.
Yeah, so before we get predictions, I'm expecting a flat-out war on Friday night. Because Shea Weber, with Voracek jumping on Shea Weber's back, something's happening immediately at the start of that game. And Shea Weber gets away with murder. He ripped Kevin Hayes' head off his body last night. That should have put it on Flyers on a power play with a chance to tie the game up and go on a 6-4 man advantage. And it was just completely ignored. Same thing happened in Game 1. He was roughing up Coots behind the net, sitting on him. The rest didn't do a damn thing about it. It's like they just completely ignore his 7-foot monstrous body back there. So I'm expecting a war on Friday. I'm expecting AV to have them ready because, as you said, they haven't lost back-to-back games since early to mid-January. And like you said, Carter Hart bounces back. And probably, like I said earlier, this was his worst game. Game 2, even though he got pulled, I really didn't blame much on him. Maybe one goal he could have prevented, but the other 3 were off skates deflections he couldn't see. Last night, even from the get-go, he wasn't controlling the puck. He was letting out wild rebounds. The defense didn't play well. I'm expecting a cleaner game. I'm expecting a hard-hitting game and a low-scoring game. So, guys, predictions before we move on. Gint, we'll start with you. Flyers win or lose on Friday and move on to the second round for the first time in 8 years.
I'm going to go with the Flyers definitely win. I think they're going to have a sense of urgency. No higher seed team ever wants to go to a Game 7 in any sport. So I think you'll definitely see a sense of urgency, like we got to get out of here. They should have put it away last night, but they didn't. So I definitely think there's a sense of urgency. Like you said, I think it'll be a very high-paced game, but I think they will win tomorrow night and move on to the second round.
George?
Yeah, I think we win Game 6. I'm not going to say we roll because I thought we were going to roll in Game 5, but I think we come out there and we get the win. Some things we need is like probably G back on the first line. Yep. You need TK to actually hit the net and stop missing
Control the puck.
Control the puck, stop turning it over. Yeah. Like that's one guy that's really frustrating the series because that's one guy you probably expect to come out and raise hell. I mean, yeah, but I'm expecting a win. I'm going to say like 2-goal win for the Flyers.
Snap.
I think they take it. They're going to take it the way they've been playing in games, 3 and 4, really gritty, good defense. Just get physical with them. And like you guys said, they don't lose back-to-back games. Hopefully that.
We lost Snap for a second.
I think we did lose him.
He might have to exit out and come back in. But while there he's good. Oh, he's out. But anyway,
good start.
I'm predicting a Flyers win, and I'm also predicting a Kevin Hayes goal because he was very close. Don't know how he didn't get a penalty shot last night. He's been even though he hasn't produced points wise, goal wise, he's been good at controlling the puck, keeping the puck in Montreal's zone, especially last night. I'm predicting a Kevin Hayes goal and then a Flyers win. But it is crazy because the Flyers have been outscored 11 goals to 8 this series, and you don't see a team up up in a series when that's the case. But so I think you kind of see the same thing as after game 2 is Hart let up 4, and then Elliott let in 1. Hart let up 5 last night, or 4, and then an empty netter. I'm expecting him to bounce back. I'm expecting the defense to be ready because AV is going to have them ready. And I'm really hoping, George, like you said, to see the line changes. Maybe Van Riemsdyk gets brought back in. Nick Albe-Cabell gets brought back in. If there's no Niskanen, you're going to see Ghost. That worries me a little bit because Ghost is obviously not as physical, not as good defensively as Niskanen is, although he's better offensively. But the physicality with bringing Robert Haig back in over Ghost made slowed down the speed of Montreal entering the zone, and they didn't really like it. But you knew going into Game 5, Brendan Gallagher and Max Domi, the speed guys on and Suzuki didn't like to play physical. And then last night, Flyers defense played sloppy.
Yeah,
so Snap, you got disconnected. Win?
I gotta win. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear me? I gotta win. They're gonna.
And he's out. Not a good showing for Snap on opening night here. So Snap's got to win, guys.
Yeah,
definitely has a win.
I was thinking, especially with how chippy it's probably going to be in Game 6. You saw that in Game 5. Refs were swallowing their whistles. They weren't really calling everything. They were letting it go. That's just playoff hockey, obviously. But if you can add NAK back into that lineup and bring even more physicality, maybe Lots, JVR, NAK, third line.
I'm okay. I'm okay with Lots being thrown out of the lineup.
I would love
been awful this series.
That's the one.
God.
Yeah, that's the one thing why I'm the Niskanen thing sucks, but also he hasn't really been incredible this series. So
nobody has.
Yeah. I mean, yep. Waffles look good.
I mean, before last night, Voracek finally showed up last night. Like I said, Kevin Hayes had a really good game. Giroux had an assist. And then other than that, it's kind of been Provorov hasn't looked sharp. Coots has looked slow. I don't know if there's an injury because it's playoff time. I don't know what's going on with Coots, but he doesn't look great. Konechny can't find the back of net or even control the puck to get a shot on net. And, dude, here's one thing I want to say about the defenseman, which forces rushes the other way for Montreal. When you shoot from the point, please, for the love of God, put the puck on net. Sanheim, Myers, Provorov, they're missing high and wide every single time. And with the bounces off the board, it's going the other way every time. But, yeah, I mean, before, we become the depressed faithful fanatics, Flyers win. I think they move on for the first time in 8 years. Probably looking to take on the Islanders, who play the Caps tonight at 8. We'll see if they can wrap that up or if Ovechkin keeps the Capitals chugging along. But either way, I'm just excited for tomorrow night. And please give me a win because like Ginn said earlier, no one seed, the higher seed, wants a Game 7, especially going up 3-1, because now Game 6 has a lot more pressure on the Flyers than it does the Canadians, because the Canadians know the Flyers won. I'm not saying the Flyers can't win a Game 7 at all.
I couldn't take it though.
No,
I couldn't take it.
No. I'm not even going to take Game 6, dude. But you know that the Flyers have a lot more to play for tomorrow than the Canadians do, because Game 7 means trouble for the Flyers. Not saying a series loss, but we'll see. All right, moving on to the Sixers. I don't know where is Snap still on. Snap? No, he's not here.
Yeah. I'm getting closer to my router.
Technical difficulties. There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Is this better? I just had everyone in my house turn their Wi-Fi off.
I think you're good.
You're good.
Am I good? I'm the circle thing again?
No, you're good.
I can see your face.
And now he's going away again. Oh, awesome start. All right, Gint. Oh, there he is. Is he good?
I don't know.
You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
For 5 seconds, but all right, let's go.
Well, you're just in time, buddy, because it's your favorite topic.
Yeah, my favorite. I hate the Philadelphia 76ers with all my
There it
heart.
is. I'm quoting that tonight.
I hate
I think every Sixers fan hates the Sixers. Like I feel like
it's like Sixers haters, Sixers fans, both hating the 76ers. Like, it's ridiculous. I just want this to be over, if we're being frank. I need the sweep. I hate saying it too. I came into this series with so much optimism in the 6th seed going against the 3 seed. I was ready to go against them full speed. It's Boston. I love playing Boston, even though they usually have our number because it's Philly Boston. I got my 2012 Eastern Conference semifinals pal literally on the other side of the computer right now, staring me in the face. It's just so depressing, man. Like, Brett Brown needs out. I want Josh Harris to sell the team. I need Elton Brand out of town. We got 2 terrible contracts, no assets. I just don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. This is awful. Absolutely awful situation.
And Snap's a processor for everyone that doesn't know.
I'm such a processor. I've been defending Brett Brown for years. I've been defending the freelance offense for so many years. I've been defending how they rebuilt, how the people they brought in. I was sketchy with Elton Brand for the right reasons. You hired a first-time GM into a major part of a rebuild process when you're ready to win. And I've been gun-ho. I was the guy saying, we don't need Jimmy. Allen, Tobias are fine. I'm stupid. I don't know why I ever thought that.
It's just like you said, it's just disheartening. Everything has just gone wrong. Truthfully, we went up like 14 last night at one point. We talked all day about how Brett Brown talks all day about Alec Burks is this kryptonite off the bench, and he does this and that so well for the team. And you bring in Raul Neto, and Alec Burks doesn't even play in the first quarter. It just doesn't. Nothing made sense to me that happened last night. We still saw spurts where Embiid doesn't get touches, and it's after game one, the way game one went, where he went 5 for 5 in the first quarter and then shot 2 shots in the second quarter, went 0 for 2 from the field. Like, I would look at game one and I would say, okay, clearly Joel Embiid should take every single shot or touch the ball every single possession. Obviously, he's not going to take every single shot. That's just an expression. But he should touch the ball every single possession because he struggles out of double teams this series. He has, which is because the Celtics are athletic. They have good wing players. But it's just like, I don't get why we sometimes just drift away from Joel Embiid, especially with no Ben Simmons and the way Tobias is playing, who's been playing absolutely horrific in this series. Mm-hmm. So like you said, it's just we recorded 2 weeks ago. I was so optimistic coming into a series. I was saying that I don't know why everyone was checking them out when they lost Ben. I still felt we could win a playoff series, but Brad Stevens is just making a mockery out of Brett Brown. The way we guard pick and rolls, I've seen 6 U teams that can guard a pick and roll better. Like, even if we have players on the other team mocking the way we play defense. Kemba Walker talking after the game saying, I can't believe this is how they're guarding me. I'm getting wide open looks. It just does. It's just so sad. It truthfully is sad.
I saw a tweet the other day. It was like Brett Brown is the Jason Garrett of the NBA, and I've never seen it.
Oh my God!
It's so disappointing. But the issue with Brett is like his game plan out of the gate wasn't bad. He's like Jim Schwartz. He can't adjust in the game. He will not go away from what he does. So Brad Stevens, so the Sixers come out, get a 13, 14-point lead, play very, very well in the first quarter. Embiid's dominating. Tatum hits a lucky 3. It's a 6-point game. Probably should have been 9, 10-point game after the first, but still had a very good first quarter. What does Brad Stevens do? What does a good coach do?
He doubles and triples Embiid. He stops the post feed, and then Brett Brown absolutely shits the bed.
He adjusts, and Brett doesn't adjust to his adjustment. And that's not what good coaches do. And that's why I'm with Snap. I'm with Ginn. Honestly, look, if the Sixers come out tomorrow night and they look like a completely different team, because I guess that was the hope after game one, right? Getting me and you were going back and forth, and I was like, look, I just don't see how there's a chance. Like the one thing going into the series was they have no one to guard the wing players. And yes, while Matisse looked good in the little bit of spurts he had against Tatum in the first game, they still dropped over 60, Brown and Tatum combined, right? So I was like, but the Sixers only lost by 8 points that game. They turned the ball over 18 times. Boston had almost 20 or not, if not 20 points off of turnovers. They gave up way too many offensive rebounds, which led to extra shots and extra buckets. So you leave game one with a sense of optimism in that, okay, we don't have Ben Simmons, but the Sixers could still be in the series, and that's with Tatum and Brown going off in game one. Maybe they don't play like this.
You could say the only reason the game was even that close is minus the turnovers. You could just say the game is that close because in the third quarter, Boston was missing wide open shots. They were laughing at how wide open they were in the third and fourth quarter. That's the only reason we took the lead in the third quarter in game one. So honestly, I don't even consider it as close of a game as it really was.
I don't know. The first game, there was, like I said, you turned the ball over 13 times in the first half, and you still had probably 3 to 4 chances in the second half to win the game. And that's with, like I said, we should have been up 9 points in the first half, probably going into halftime. Instead, I think we were down 9 or down 6 maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just going into game two, you thought, okay, maybe we don't turn the ball over this much. Maybe we make a little bit of adjustments defensively, maybe not get these guys in such a rhythm. Like these jumpers these guys are hitting are just rhythm jumpers. These are what they practice every single day. It's just putting them into a rhythm. So you think maybe you make some adjustments, and they just came out in the same thing. And Brett Brown said today, we watched the film. Maybe we will raise the big on a pick and roll, and we'll hedge off a screen and make them bounce and make them maybe put the ball in somebody else's hands, which with this team might not work because they have 3 people on the perimeter that are all very, very good, all average over 20 points a game. But it's just not giving them rhythm jumpers. But the fact that he said that today after game 2, and he didn't say it after game 1, it's just like, what game 1 did he watch?
Been?
What game 1 did you watch? Because I mean, again, I'm not Greg Popovich. I'm not an NBA head coach. But how do you not see that these dudes are hitting rhythm pull-up jumpers? That's all.
It's the same thing every year, every playoff series, man. Because put Toby aside. Toby's been awful. Maybe the worst max contract in NBA history with giving out a max. Al's been awful. Al's maybe it's the matchup. Maybe it's just against Boston. I don't know, but he's been awful this series. But what's been the consistent? So game 1, Joel doesn't touch the ball from I think the 5.5 minute mark to basically didn't touch the ball for the last 5.5 minutes. He had one shot at the 13-second mark, which was a chuck-up 3 down 6 or 7 points. So I don't even really count that. So the first game, the man who's dominating for you, you get a 6-point lead in the fourth quarter, and you completely go away from Joel Embiid. Completely. Which, that's on the players to give him the ball too, but it's on him to demand the ball, but it's also on the head coach. Like, after a couple possessions of them not getting the ball to him and going on the opposite side of the floor as him on offense, I call a timeout. Secondly, speaking of calling timeouts, how many times this series have we seen? He's called 2 timeouts while we're going on a run, and then doesn't call a timeout until Boston smacks off 12, 15 points in a row and turns the game right around. And then
it doesn't make any sense.
And then last night, dude, it was a joke a couple weeks ago on our show when we were figuring out playoff rotations and we were saying what each of us would do, who would be playing, right? So somehow, miraculously, he's gone away from Korkmaz, basically. So miraculously, he figured that out a little bit. He started Tease. He moved out to the bench. I'm like, oh, my God, maybe he's starting to get it. Alec Burks drops 18 points, 19 points in game 1.
Played really well game 1.
What does he do in game 2? Raul Neto, while you're winning by 13 or 14, and the game completely got turned around there, and I will tell you why. Because it's just a theory, but how does Alec Burks get his buckets? I mean, he hits a 3 out of the double team sometime when Joel kicks it out to him, but a lot of it is isolation basketball. That's not Brett's offense. Who is Raul Neto? He's TJ McConnell 2.0. He runs.
I don't even think he's that good.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as far as running Brett's offense the way he wants to be ran. Yeah. That's what he's doing. And for whatever reason, however S9 it is, and you even said, I saw the quote about how Brett was like, having a guy like Alec Burks come off the bench scoring that amount is great, blah, blah. And then you go to Neto. It's not making sense. And I'm kind of with Snap. Like, as much as I want them to win, I'm ready for the sweep, and so help me God, if Brett Brown's not gone in a couple weeks, then I don't know.
I'm in Phoenix.
With the Neto thing too, it's almost like we got done
We lost him again.
Snap.
Yeah. But no, just to also.
Can you hear me
Just-
now?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Yeah,
He's back.
yeah.
All right. It's almost like he got Neto. He got done game one. He thought about who's the best passer on.
He's gonna get so frustrated.
He'll figure it out.
It's like a
How you
minute.
feeling?
It's like a 5-second delay too. So every time it happens, I don't even know it's happening.
Go ahead. You're good.
It's like I'm scared to talk. It's like he decided to take Real Neto after game one because he thought.
Oh my god!
I'm going to try to build off what he said. What I think he's trying to say is it's like Brett's overthinking it now. It's like, okay, we lost game one. I'll go to something else here. Maybe he would have thought the fans would have been like, oh, thank God he made an adjustment. It's Raul Neto. When in reality, that's the opposite adjustment of what you needed to make.
What he said.
Yeah,
It's just
he would get what you were saying. It's that.
it's just
It's stupid logic. It's stupid logic. Everything he does is irritating.
it's so
I'm fed
bad.
up.
It's so bad.
I honestly think for the rest of the show, we should just start looking at head coach replacements.
Well,
right?
Coming to me with a head coach every week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Well, who did I say last week? I haven't looking.
You said Atkinson. You said
yeah,
Kenny Atkinson.
Kenny Atkinson.
All right. Next one, Mark Jackson. I love Mark Jackson. I think he got blackballed by the league a little bit. Nah, you guys say no, but he built the defense that won Golden State their first championship. And they got a guy like Steph Curry who's getting cooked by any man with a small handle. So I look at it as you could maximize Embiid's defense and Simmons' defense, bring in.
You know what he was going for this time?
I think what he's going for, like you said, Mark Jackson is a defensive-minded coach, but
Culture.
there you go.
Defensive culture. Build a goddamn culture because Brett Brown does not have one.
Yeah,
There you go.
and I think Jackson was a good head coach. He was, and he was just hovering around a 4-5 seed every year, and then miraculously you get a new head coach and you win a title. I think that's kind of alarming to me because that's kind of like what we have right now. I think where it's like Brett's gotten us to these right now. We're the 6th seed, but before we were 3. We were 3 the year before. And it's like we need a guy that's going to come in and make us that one. Which I don't know if there's an old NBA coach out there that can do it. I really like Stan Van Gundy. I think Stan Van Gundy was saying all the right things last night because he was our broadcaster last night. Literally everything he was saying, I was like, that sounds right. So it's like, but it's a lot easier to do it from the booth than on the sideline. So it's like tough. That's just a head coach. I don't want to get into what Golden State did and all that. So,
but I completely agree with you. We need a coach to take us to the next step, even though Brett got us to the 2 years in a row. The issue I'm having
is
Brett
get us there, or did Embiid and Simmons get us there?
Right. That also.
And Jimmy Butler.
I definitely agree with that. I'm the biggest. Yeah.
But the way the roster is constructed, and no one, I know there's people saying like Sacramento has interest in Al Horford. Maybe it's just a fit, so Al Horford can still play. As of right now, I don't know how anyone would want that contract. No one, and the Sixers aren't going to give up on him. No one's going to want Toby's contract. We even said they won't even have enough cap to bring back Alec Burks this offseason. If they can't even bring back Alec Burks, they have no room to build next year unless they somehow get rid of 1 or 2 contracts. Like I know,
or they go flawless in the draft,
right?
Which is impossible.
What are the chances of that?
If they actually do trade Horford, they're probably going to take on negative value for that contract.
They have no choice.
Or give up a pick. They're going to have to trade him.
It's going to be negative value. Yeah, no matter.
The pick in Horford might as well be attached to the hip. I also think you're going to have to give up Josh Richardson this offseason. I think you're going to have to.
I think so too.
If you're going to get something of value that you want. Exactly.
And
so if you want,
the thing is, he's a great deal. He's only making $10 million a year. So you still don't even free up a lot of cap by moving him, and you're losing a high-value player, even though he hasn't been playing great. But I feel like under a new head coach, that'd be a great guy to have moving forward.
Josh?
Which is just almost sad. Like you got him for 1 year after
just
you
didn't
traded
fit.
away at.
He just doesn't fit well. It seems like
He's been, but is that him with the
Fit
player,
well,
or is
is
that
he
him
not
with
being
Brett?
utilized right?
Yeah. Yes, or is that him under Brett? Dude, he's averaging. I think he's at 18 both games at the first two.
he's looked good in the
really
playoffs.
He
Yeah, he's
averaged
looked good in the playoffs.
in Miami. Like the guy isn't a bomb.
No,
He's
I
not.
agree. I think I don't know. I'm kind of with Gint on the side that I think you're probably going to see him move this offseason, maybe. But
If
I don't know.
Horford goes, I'm saying
Yeah.
if Horford gets
So
moved.
Buddy Hield's been a name that's been thrown around a lot. No, Gint's trying to
No. Believe me, I want him. I don't think
don't
they'll
see
pick
it.
up Richardson with Horford to get Healed, and I don't think Sacramento will take Horford a pick. And what Korkmaz? Maybe like I don't think Matisse is touchable right now. In my opinion, I think Simmons and
You
Embiid
can't.
and Thibault are the only three people I wouldn't move right now. I think everyone else is on the table. So it's like, I would want Buddy Hield, yeah, if it could somehow just be packaged with, and Richardson wouldn't be packaged. If we're going to package Richardson, we need like a Zach LaVine and a sign and trade deal, someone of that nature. It's got to be somebody that can score over 20, 22 points a game a night, 23 points a game a night.
I'm thinking at this point, I'm almost like thinking that we should do what the Clippers did for Paul George, and you just mortgage some of your future away, where you have to like call.
We don't have much future to give.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like over the next 5 years, you give them like first round picks, like OKC got from the Clippers, and you just go up and you go, yo, we'll give you 5 first round picks for Bradley Beal right now, and you have to take one of these contracts, like some shit like that. That's the only way I can see us like getting an actual superstar talent player here. That's the only way you're going to get that type of move done.
I want to know what went wrong in the last year and a half.
Very easy.
Oh, no. But I'm talking from a general manager standpoint. Because last year, dude, Elton Brand, we're sitting here thinking, my God, this dude just brought in Jimmy Butler. And when the Jimmy Butler trade was made, the rumor around the league was it's for long term. He's going to sign here with Philadelphia. And then they kept getting pushed back. Then you traded Shamet and those pieces for Scott, Boban, and Toby. And now you maybe had the best starting 5 at the time. You had a weak bench. Well, Ennis and Scott played over better than they ever have, really.
You had Boban too.
Yeah.
Boban's averaged more points in the playoffs than Horford.
What went wrong where
Elton Brand?
Hell, but that's why I don't understand. How did he go from being a genius to literally blowing this thing up?
I don't know if Snap's frozen, but
yeah,
I don't know if you guys listened to that JJ Redick podcast where Jimmy was on there.
But he said like there was a situation with, it was someone in the front office. I don't know who it was. He never said who it was. He said to Brett Brown, "Can you control him?" That was what he said, talking about Jimmy Butler. And that's when he literally said, "Nah, I'm out." That's what Jimmy Butler said to Redick on the podcast. It's like from top to bottom, this organization just handles things not correctly. Like Joel Embiid comes out and says, like last week, I haven't been happy since last year. Why aren't you doing everything in your power? It's the whole city of Philadelphia does it. Bryce Harper is telling you to sign Realmuto, not doing it. Embiid saying he's not happy. Like, why aren't our stars catered to be happy? It doesn't make sense to me. So I think that the Jimmy Butler thing was, I think when we think back, if we never win, I think like that's like the pivot. It's like, why didn't Jimmy Butler come back? And he said it on the podcast. I mean, he also was not a huge fan of Brett Brown. That was clearly expressed. He didn't like how our practices were ran. He said every film session, he was like, what am I even doing here? We're not even getting anything done. So that's also a Brett stem. I think Brett was an awesome process coach. Guys played really hard for him. Guys that like probably didn't get a lot of minutes anywhere else, even though we're seeing like TLC and Jakar Sampson playing in the playoffs now. So it's like, it's tough to tell where it went wrong.
Hold on. Trey Burke. We chose Raul Neto over Trey Burke.
Yeah, Trey Burke is so good, man. He's been playing unreal for
and
Dallas.
Why? But why, Gim? Because what did I say earlier? How does Trey Burke play?
He scores. He scores in the isolation.
Like Alec Burke scores. Okay. How does Raul Neto play? He runs Brett's offense, and that is so damn annoying. Like everywhere you look, like James Ennis is playing well in Orlando right now. Okay, he was just let go at the trade deadline basically. For nothing. You kept Mike. You decided to keep Mike Scott. You decided to keep some like
You let go of Jay Nennis too.
Yep. You chose to keep
Yeah.
Korkmaz. You let TLC go, who's clearly hitting threes way better than Korkmaz.
I'm not biting on the TLC hype. He's on Brooklyn right now. Who's just has nobody
with no actual star.
Yeah,
it's like all the process.
No, I'm not saying.
Oh, here's one. Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant. We moved for fucking nothing. He's starting on Denver, who looks incredible, hitting 3-pointers, athletic plays, defense.
And then another huge thing I think
from the last 3 drafts. Do we have anything from the last?
That's literally what I was just about to bring up. I think
besides Phaithful and Ben, do we have anybody?
When we go through the draft, we just don't value the back end. Exactly, we don't value anything. We had 3 picks in the second round last year, and we didn't select anyone with them. Eric Paschall, which I'm a little biased, he's a Villanova guy. Eric Paschall had an unreal rookie season this year. You don't think the Sixers could use Eric Paschall off the bench right now? It's been that way for the last probably 3-4 drafts where we make picks and everyone goes, what? And we give away picks for we picked 31 and 34 this year. Looking at this bench that we have right now, are you going to tell me we're just going to give them away for cash considerations again? It dates back to
someone to store or someone to store
ticket money
or someone to store overseas for 3 seasons.
Yeah, that one guy just signed another 3-year deal. The guy we drafted just signed a 3-year deal overseas.
Dallas 6, something with a V. You guys just synchronized real well. You both are just so pissed off, and you just. I don't know if that's water. It did not seem like a water sip. It seemed like something else. You guys are so aggressive with that sip.
I just think the drafting, and don't get me started on the whole Zaire Smith thing. And I don't want to hear, that got us Tobias Harris. It didn't.
No.
Something else could have been worked out. Mikal Bridges just looked like a top 10 player in the bubble for 8 games, and we couldn't use Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. was sitting right there, but they were too scared to take him because he was injury prone, and no one wanted to hear about.
Yeah, but we
took another injured first round pick.
We drafted Mikal Bridges was a Philadelphia 76er at one
point. But
and we traded him.
But they want to take MPJ because of injuries, but Zaire has barely played because of injuries.
Nobody would have for MPJ.
Zaire is a power forward turned shooting guard. Do we not remember that? He played power forward in high school and college, and they made him into a shooting guard.
He wasn't even good in college. He literally wasn't even a good basketball player. They got it turned on for people with the athleticism, and that's
they had an ideology for 3-and-D guys to go around Ben and Joel. And none of them have
Bridges. He's the definite. If you think 3-and-D players in the NBA, I think of 7 players that are better than Mikal Bridges probably right now.
I can think of one that we gave away, Rocco. We gave away Mikal.
Rocco stinks. But
he's on a contender and he's playing valuable minutes. I'd rather him over anyone else on this fucking bench.
That's absolutely true. But
all right, there you go.
So
but at the time he was part of the Jimmy deal, which
but guess what? The Jimmy deal sucks now because you didn't re-sign him. You gave away 2 starting players, regardless how you feel about them. They were 2 starting players that knew how to play around our stars and fit them. Now we don't have them, and that's where it's like Elton Brand has literally taken all of our assets, decided let's win now, but in the stupidest fucking way possible, and just gave all of our assets away. It literally is mind-boggling how quickly we went from 4 years ago having more assets than anyone, literally nothing. Now we are in cap debt. We can't make trades. No one wants all of these players that we paid max deals to.
Yeah. It's just...
You look like Joel from last night.
I am. Did you see my AV on Twitter?
You posted a lot of sad shit last night, Snap.
Yeah.
I put it out a wanted poster for Ellen Brand.
Yeah.
The reward, $180 million.
Do you think so? I assume. So, do you think there's a chance we win Game 3?
Not a shot. I don't want to. I honestly don't want to. I have a sick feeling they're gonna win though. I have a big
I have the
feeling
same feeling.
they're
I have
going to
the
win.
same feeling.
Tobias Harris is going to have like 30 points. Embiid's going to go for 40 and 20. The bench is going to put up like 30, 40 points. And we're all going to be like, oh, yeah, we're still in this. We're still in this. And then next thing you know, they're just going to blow us out the next 2 games and break our heart all over again. But that's what they do. They break our hearts.
Dude,
Yeah, I don't.
Snap, I'll tell you the most disappointing thing about it all was 2 weeks ago, me and you sat across from Gint and had a conversation. At least I was. Me and you were on the same page. It was they have no chance, and then but that's just
told you.
But that's just how it is.
No Ben Simmons, you're gonna get cooked.
Like, he should have won game 1.
He should have won game 1.
But they didn't because of Brett Brown, and they suck. They just suck, dude. If they turned the ball over, yeah, they would have won. But guess what? This is the Philadelphia 76ers under Brett Brown. That's what they do. They turn the ball over. The fact that they had 13 first-half turnovers doesn't even surprise me. It's like, oh, this is regular. I've been seeing this since fucking Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either.
It's just tiring. Like, I just want it to end. I honestly I wish it was a 5-game series still in the first round. So this was over tomorrow. And it was over in 3. I swear to God. I wish.
I just don't know what there's to look forward to. Like, we're talking, we want it to be over.
A new coach.
I understand. Is there going to be a new coach?
Please don't say that.
Here's my thing, though. If they get swept, there's a new coach. If you guys are right and they win game 2, and if this goes 6 or 7,
yes, he will. Yes, he will. He will stay.
He's got to win this series.
Excuse.
Yeah, he has to win. I'm with you again. He has to win this series.
He gets the 7.
He has to win the series.
They're not. I'm pretty.
No, I'm telling you, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He does not have to win.
What do you think, 7?
He takes this to 7 games, and he stays. I promise.
What if they get blown out in game 7?
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. He made it to 7 games without Ben Simmons against Brad Stevens. That's like, oh my God. Who else can do this without Ben Simmons?
I'm going to tell you, they're getting swept.
I hate him. I hate this.
They're outmanned right now, obviously. They can't guard the wing players. They can't guard Kemba. Can't guard anyone because the pick-and-roll defense is atrocious.
I just can't get over Kemba's comment still. Like you were saying earlier. Oh, I've never seen this before. I've never really had this much space. Like,
but Snap, I think for the first time,
how does he have that much space? Like,
Snap, I think for the first time we've seen this team give up on Brett Brown.
Oh yeah,
thank God, they really did. I was kind of excited about it. I was like, cool. Like, finally, you're not playing hard for this guy. Like, you shouldn't have been. Almost in a really messed up way. Because Brett Brown's a good guy. I liked Brett Brown for a lot of years. He's a player's coach. I love that about him. The bell ringing, family dinners, and all that stuff. I love that. But like, there just has to be a point where you just show your head coach you are done with him. Like they had to send a message to the management, like the front office, like Elton Brand, Josh Harris, like, yo, we're done playing for this guy.
But dude, if you're Alec Burks, how do you even feel? How do you drop 18?
You're gone. You're gone after this season. If I'm Alec Burks, I'm like, dude, I can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah, I don't think that.
I'd rather
be
back in Golden State. They at least have a future.
I don't think he'd even sign back. Right when he got here, he made those comments. It was like, I don't know what's going on here. He said it was like he didn't have a role. He didn't know what he's doing. It's still true to this day. You saw it last night. It started to look like, all right, this is going to be Alec Burks. He's going to play right off the bench. He's going to score 16, 17 points a game for us, it looks like, without Ben Simmons. And then you just don't play him. We could have lost by 25 last night, and I would have been like, oh, like, we're not as good as them, whatever. But you don't play out, like, lose by 25 with Alec Burks in the lineup. Like, I just – that move to me was just like such a Brett. Like, when I think of Brett Brown, I'll always think of that move right there. Not playing who was probably your second best player game one, realistically.
Yeah, honestly, he is. He's been balling, and it's like he has a stigma to him because he won't run the offense his way, which is all high pick and roll at the top of the key and freelance offense. I don't want to see it anymore.
And
I'm done with it. I'm so done with it. I'm literally exhausted. It's like so hard at this point. I was a season ticket holder, like with my dad and my uncle and my cousin last year. I'm done. I'm done. If you think if Brett Brown is here next season, I promise you I won't watch him. I'll go to the Wells Fargo Center every no, screw that, because that's a little far. I don't want to pay tolls. I'll go down to the practice facility in Camden every single night with a sign that says "Fire Brett Brown" until they do. I'm so done. I'm so done. It's like extreme. It's extreme.
look, the thing that bothers me is it's been the same. Like you kind of shook your head, the turnover thing. It's the same thing 3 years later.
5.
Okay, I'm talking like since Joel, like this 52 and 30 season. How did we end up losing the Boston? Literally, the last play of the Boston. Well, the last play of Game 3 when Bellinelli hit the shot and went to overtime, they couldn't even get the inbound pass, and it's the same thing every single year.
Yeah, I thought he should have been fired literally in that after that series, which is a little harsh because that was their first playoff run. But
that's why he did it.
In that playoff series, you literally saw that was when we couldn't get the ball in, and then Brad Stevens drew up the biggest gem of a player I've ever seen, where they threw that ball over the top to Horford, and he put it in the basket for them. And he can't put anything in the basket for us. But
is he done? Do you guys think he's legitimately done in this league? I think he gave up.
Here's the weird thing with Al Horford is I don't think national like if you talk to a Phoenix Suns fan or a Dallas Mavericks fan, I don't know if they realize like how bad Horford is right now.
Yeah,
because I think it's all getting swept under the radar because you have Embiid, Simmons, and Tobias Harris stinks, but it's like I don't know if they might still think it. I'm curious to hear other like fans' thoughts on.
Do you think there's a way that you can move this contract?
Yeah, but like I said, you gotta if it's for something.
The only
viable,
way is if Sacramento.
No, screw the valuable.
You're taking negative value, but you definitely can. Yeah, you definitely can.
Who's taking it in the most positive way? Like I'm saying right now, if there's a team out there right now, I know because we're not GMs. I know no one knows, but like off the top of your head, do you think there's a team right now where we could actually get value for Al Horford?
Thanks, Cam. Love you.
I love Cam. That's awesome. Do you think there's actually a team like Sacramento is always interesting because Sacramento was right there in the sweepstakes. He just didn't want to go there.
I can't believe Vlade left. I thought that was going to be our scapegoat. I thought we were good.
I did too. I heard
Sacramento.
I felt like we could have just unloaded everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
the corporate and Tobias. Yeah.
But no, I just truly don't see. I'm like honestly starting to get scared that like if we do decide to fire Brett Brown and Elton Brand, they might think about breaking this tandem up. And I really think that's going to become a possibility. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. Listen to me.
Yeah.
I've seen you get all sad, look down. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I like the two together. But I really think that's going to become a serious thing starting this offseason. Like, like Cleveland has said, they have a package. And depending on how tonight goes with the NBA draft, I'm just saying, dude, they could have the first overall pick. It's just kind of like, is this when they're going to do it?
It is a reality. It's definitely a reality. I would, and again, I'm not an NBA GM. I don't see how you could break them up before at least 2 years without Brett Brown. That's my opinion.
I agree.
I'm not Elton Brand. And I would even go to the extent of 2 years of without Brett Brown. And if nothing happens, another year without Elton Brand and a new GM.
I think Elton Brand needs to leave this year.
These are two generational talents, in my opinion, and that's it, assuming Ben Simmons starts knocking down jumpers, which
we don't know. That's why it's kind of like, is this the highest his value is going to be if he ends up not shooting the jumper? That's when I'm like I'm not saying it's the right idea, but we might get some deals this offseason for him. Like if Cleveland comes knocking and they get the first overall pick in this year's draft, and they offer you the first overall pick, a future second, you know they're going to be bad next year. Like say they or in 2 years they're going to offer you another first unprotected, and they give you a contract like Kevin Love, and then like Colin Sexton. Is it Colin Sexton, right?
Yeah,
or Darius Garland, like one of those two young players, and Kevin Love is stretch 4 you can put next to Embiid. Like you have to sit there and just like consider it. There's no other way around it. You have to sit there and look at it like, yo, there's a first round pick. I can actually draft around Embiid. I get a stretch 4. I get a point guard or a shooting guard.
So Snap, you're leaning Ben out, or would you? If you had to split the two up, which one are you splitting up? Taking out.
You're gonna ask this. It always depends. Like honestly, with me, it depends on which one gets you more value.
I think Embiid would get us a
win
lot
now.
more
Like
value.
you want to win next year. And you think you can get a big name free agent off like some miracle, or like a big trade, and somehow like I said, like offering 4 first round picks for Bradley Beal, or maybe trading Ben for the first and then sending it to the Wizards for Bradley Beal plus future first-round picks, if that's possible, like, then it's got to be Embiid because he's the best player right now.
Right.
Embiid's better than Simmons right now. He's a scorer. He's got that fiery competitiveness. If I'm talking long term, and I'm gonna go like, all right, off this deal, I'm gonna get assets like picks, like no actual good player. I'm like getting 3 or 4 picks and like maybe 1 or 2 young guys that I'm gonna use now to build around Ben. Then yeah, I'm gonna keep Ben because then I can actually mold the future, and I know he's gonna be here for the next 5 years because of that newly signed deal.
Okay, so the kid that you love, Cameron Cassio, has a question, and I've never wanted.
He's not a bust. He's not a bust.
Cameron,
come
nice
on,
to meet
man.
you. That's really bad. Nice to meet you, but no.
He's not a bust.
Cam.
He should. He's gonna end up like 4th place in Defensive Player of the Year voting. First team all defense, 5th in the league in assists, 1st in steals, 1st in minutes. People say he's injury concerned. He's missed, I think, regular season games. I think he's only missed like 15 in 3 years, minus that rookie year. Like, he's not a bust. He just doesn't shoot.
Yeah. All right. Before we wrap this up here, there is another team that's about, hopefully, knock on wood, about to get a win today.
Yes,
the Philadelphia Phillies, which is a team that you love sometimes and drives you crazy. Like earlier today,
are they still winning?
They're up 7-2, I believe, in the 6th. The 7th. If that's
7-3 right
pitching,
now.
right?
Up 7-3 and no outs in the bottom of the 6th. So
Vinny's pitching, ain't he? I don't
It's
even
still
look
Vinny,
at
yeah.
that. If Vinny's
Vinny's-
fucking pitching.
Vinny's in the 6th right now. He's still on.
Yeah, I don't count that as a guarantee yet.
Yeah, knock on wood, everyone, please. Jeez Louise.
They were talking about that on the Mike Missinelli show. Now I remember. I did know it was Vinny. They were talking about it. It's like, yeah, it's 7-0. They can't lose this. And they're like, oh, Vinny just gave up a homer.
yeah, in the very next thing. But pitching aside, guys, the offense is kind of starting to turn it around where
Ramp up, man.
what we discussed before the season started, like this is the offense that we expected. Is Bryce Harper playing MVP? Obviously, in my opinion, yes. Is Bryce Harper the MVP of the league right now?
Of the league?
Of the NL or the league?
Tatis is the – oh, you're talking about the MLB? The whole MLB?
The NL, the National League. My bad.
He's one of them. I mean, he's
up there.
what is, I think he's 8th in average. He's 2nd in the whole MLB in on-base percentage. He's 2nd in the whole MLB in OPS. He has now 6 home runs, and he's played probably like 6 or 7 less games than most batters. Like, yeah, he's clearly an MVP candidate this year, and it's not even close.
Yeah, so's Phil Gosselin.
All right, you got me there. You got me
That's
there.
my man, dude. I'm in love. Phil Gosselin.
Goose is
Phil
loose.
Gosselin for president. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, but
All right.
Harper is
Oh, hold on.
absolutely
We-
ridiculous.
We got a comment from Cam again. Let's show it.
trade
Ray
rumor.
Roman Quinn and Gene Segura have Hazley in center field, Bohm at third, and get better and younger bullpen. Harper will be MVP.
I
Cam,
wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
they
mad
would
at all
argue
about
with
that.
you because Roman
Yeah.
Quinn continues
Like,
to be an
stinks.
ass out in center field.
Suck.
He's terrible.
Awful in center field, even though Gene's starting to turn around the batter's box a little bit more. But
Yeah.
Cam Cassio, everyone go follow him on Twitter. All
Yeah,
right, guys.
make sure next time you on, put your at name so we can
Yeah.
shoot you some.
All right, guys. Well, a little bit of a rough live show.
Oh.
First live show with Snap's technical difficulties, but all in all, pretty good.
Look at his face right now.
All right, guys. Well, go follow if you're still watching, or if you're watching this later, go follow us on Twitter at Phaithful Fans. Go follow our Instagram, our YouTube, etc. And come back next week. Let's go Flyers. Not really sure if we're saying let's go Sixers, and let's go Phils.
Sweet bump.
Let's trade Al Horford.
Trade Horford.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good talk.